friend of mine asked me recently, how does acupuncture work? How does Chinese medicine work? And this is an answer from someone who meditates a lot and is only one perspective that may or may not help elucidate understanding. There are many maps of the body, like the cardiovascular system, the lymphatic system, the skin integumentary system, and acupuncture works with the channel system of the body, the channels. So we can kind of overlay this structurally and functionally. The map structurally is skin, then the interstitium or the fascia, then blood vessels, muscles, nerves, and bone, to simplify a little bit. So that's how it structurally looks. Then functionally, or the map of the chi channels, looks something like the cutaneous regions, the lobes, and the muscle meeting, the muscle channels. Below that, the primary channels, and the divergence, the extraordinaries, which kind of encapsulate all of them, but are really felt at the bottom. So, with this understanding of structure and function, we can start to look at where does function begin to struggle. Pulse reading gets it clear, reading of where function starts to struggle, and we can map that onto the structure of the skin, interstitium, so on and so forth. And we can also map that onto, it's in the primary channel of this specific organ system. So what are we looking for here? We're looking for, where does function start to struggle? If we're looking at function, we're looking at the psychosoma, the mind-body, to put another way, where the mind and the body overlap. So, for instance, I know this is a point. It's called lung 7, as I know it, and its function is to release the exterior to help promote the opening of the pores. If I were to press this, there is a clear image that arises, both from my understanding of this point and also from the feeling of the point. It feels like it kind of is prickly. It brings things kind of like that towards the surface. So I believe that through deep meditation and trial and error of mapping the functionality of the mind-body, were the ancients able to develop this system of understanding the body. Of course, the only constant is change. And by the way these things are categorized and constrained, they remain functionally useful. What I mean by that is Chinese medicine has been developed upon the foundations of structure of information. First duality, then circular dynamics and their categories. It is by working with the language of these foundational building blocks, that these mappings remain timeless. It is the very nature of how our mind works that we can map these functions. It is the very nature of how the body works that we are able to map these functions. So, how does acupuncture work with this? If we're looking for where functionality is struggling, then acupuncture helps bring awareness to that which is struggling to function. Why do things struggle to function? From the psychosoma, we see that narratives, desires, obstacles, questions, emotions all kind of coalesce together as this, almost like this object of experience, this thing that can be felt densely and have narratives attached to. These things live in the body. For instance, if I have the persistent narrative of needing to go to the grocery store to go get something for a beloved friend, and there's a sense of urgency there, already I feel my stomach fascia tightening and my legs beginning to whirl up into functionality. And it is by this persistent tensing that the functionality begins to really wear down. Because the next time I need to use this area for something, for digesting, for instance, well, it's already tightening because I have that psychosomatic tightening, psychosomatic responding, psychosomatic relating. Relating would probably be the most apt word here. Relating. So, acupuncture works to bring functionality to these areas by saying, oh, I don't actually need to go get this thing from the grocery store right now. I can just rest. There's nothing for me to do right now. Because the needle is bringing awareness to that somatic area and saying, why is this tightening? There's actually no reason for this to be tightening right now. Oh, I can just rest. A practitioner isn't enforcing anything. They're simply bringing awareness to areas of the body through these maps that can help foster a sense of release back into relaxation. So we can work at this from two angles, from the psyche or from the soma, from the mind or from the body. We can work from the physical or the mental emotional. And that is where the relationship to a practitioner is seen as important. Because if what we're doing is identifying areas of persistent tension in the body that have narratives attached to them, well, these things can look strikingly a lot like identity, like what the ego is attaching onto to remain solid in one's experience, to feel a sense of protection over one's experience. These things can be scary to revisit. They're placed in these rooms in the house of the psychosomatic body, such to remain locked and unseen to the person who is living in the house. this is a crude analogy because, of course, there is no person. The point is that the relationship to the practitioner is very helpful in opening up to awareness. Who does the practitioner feel safe with and brave with? Who does the patient feel safe with and brave with? Finding that compatibility for this iteration of relating is helpful to start to build a relationship with these more difficult, dense objects within the psychosomatic experience.